Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about unusual houseplants that are really easy and low maintenance. The first one is a snake plant, but don't worry, this isn't your ordinary snake plant. This is another kind of snake plant that is a little bit more uncommon, and this is called the Sansevieria Whitney, and it's kind of got different markings. It's a lot darker than some of the snake plants you find out there. But I just think it's really stunning. It's quite subtle. But if you like snake plants and if you've discovered how easy snake plants are, I'd really recommend the Whitney because I just think it's really unique and different. And yeah, snake plants are known for being really easy care, and if you are a snake plant collector like me, then you're probably always on the lookout for some new and unique varieties. So this one I highly recommend. It's basically the same care advice as any snake plant. They love a lot of light. They like to be watered sparingly in the winter, and I always water mine when they get dry in the summer. And yeah, they are also adaptable to low light, but they do prefer, a bit more light if you can give it to them. They will grow much faster for you if you put them in a higher light area, because that is generally what they prefer, but they are adaptable, so they probably will survive in low light, but they won't quite thrive. Next is a Peperomia that I have fallen in love with. I have it in this cute little kitty planter. It also has the nickname baby rubber plant because it looks kind of like a little rubber plant. It kind of has the same variegation as a rubber plant, but yeah, this is a Peperomia, and I don't know if you can see, but it also has kind of like pinky stems, which I think are really cute and look really cool against the leaves on this one. And Peperomias are semi-succulent, so if you basically treat this as you would a succulent, in that you let it dry out all the way before you water it, really cut down on that watering in winter, yeah, this one will be happy. It also likes nice bright light too. I didn't always used to be so great with Peperomias, but you guys kind of let me know in the comments that as long as you treat it kind of like a succulent, it's pretty easy, and that was great advice because they are pretty easy if you treat them as a succulent. So yeah, these are semi-succulent, but as long as you're a bit mean without watering, and just wait until you can kind of squeeze the leaves before you water, and then you should be okay. That's the advice I've been following, and I also have mine in a nice bright window too, where it gets lots of good light. Most of us have heard of Marantas, but this is a bit of a different kind of Maranta. This one's getting a little bit top heavy at the moment, but yeah, this one has some different markings, and I'll put the name up on screen. But it's just a little bit more subtle than some of the other Marantas out there, I think. And it's just a bit more of an unusual variety, but I really like it. I think it's very pretty, and if you're into collecting Marantas, then this is definitely one you should add to your collection. I basically treat this the same as any other Maranta. I don't generally let it dry out all the way, but Marantas are a little bit more forgiving if you do let them dry out. So unlike a Calathea, these will probably survive getting a bit dry now and again, but they're just brilliant because they are genuinely really good low light plants too. So if you do have a slightly lower light area, these do pretty well there. And yeah, they're pretty fast growers too, especially in spring, summer, but they do tend to put out leaves even in the colder months too. But I just love this one. I think it's got really pretty markings, and I definitely highly recommend it. It's been so easy. Next plant is a jade plant, but don't worry, this isn't the normal kind of jade plant that you always see. This one's actually a twist on it. It's a variegated version. So you've got the kind of lighter green and almost white bits on it, and it also gets some red sun stressing as well. It hasn't got quite as much of the red sun stressing at the moment. You should be able to see a little bit, but we're in the colder months here, so we're not getting quite so much sun, but during the spring, summer, it really does show those shades of red. And jade plants are Super, super easy to look after. Even though this one's a little bit more interesting than its common cousin, it actually is just as easy to care for. I really cut back on watering my jade plants in the winter, in the autumn winter, and I really only just water them when I think it's necessary. During the spring summer though, I do water them fairly freely as long as the soil is completely dry. And these also really love bright light, especially this one, because you want it to maintain that variegation. So I'd recommend putting this in a nice bright windowsill. But I had wanted one of these for a while, and then when I found one I was really chuffed. So yeah, I don't think it's reverting yet, although maybe it is a little bit. Some of the new growth maybe looks a bit green. It might be because we're in winter. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I could always try chopping it back if it does start reverting. I can't really comment on how stable the variegation is on this one yet, because I've only had it kind of half a year or something like that. But I will let you know as I go into the future with this plant. Next up we have the purple passion plant, and I'm just such a real fan of this one. It's a super fun plant, and I recently put mine into a new planter, this kind of pinky colour one, dusky pink. But this one has just been super easy to care for. It has these kind of fuzzy purple leaves. The leaves are kind of green but with purple fuzz, and they're really soft to touch. It's a really cool plant. Couldn't be easier really, to be honest. It just sits on my windowsill and I water it when it's kind of almost dry. I try not to let it dry out all the way. In summer sometimes it gets a little bit dry, but certainly during the autumn winter months it does need a bit less water, and you'll probably find that with most plants really. But yeah, it's I think it's a really fun and unique plant, and it adds a little bit of colour too. I keep mine in the kitchen windowsill, and it's just nice to have a bit of colour when you're doing the washing up. Next is the rickrat cactus, and this is actually a jungle cactus, so it's a little bit different to the desert cacti that we often see. And this one can actually cope with a bit of humidity. It quite likes a bit of humidity because it usually lives in the jungle. You don't have to give it humidity, it does absolutely fine without it too. But this is really one of those simple, easy plants that I just forget about. And yeah, this was a couple of very small cuttings when I got it. So even though it's still a fairly small plant, it has grown quite significantly for me since I bought the tiny cuttings sometime last year, I think it was. But it's kind of quite a fun plant. It's got sort of a fun shape to the leaves, sort of like a zigzag shape. And yeah, it has kind of cute little hairs when it comes in. I don't think they're sharp, no, they're more like hairs really. But highly recommend this one. It's a super fun plant to grow. I generally let mine dry out pretty much all the way before I water, and it seems pretty happy. This one can also deal with slightly lower light as well. Certainly lower light than your desert cacti could. Next is the Syngonium albo, and this was a recent purchase of mine, but it really is just as easy as any other Syngonium. This one is growing really, really fast, and it's proving to be a really low maintenance plant. And I would highly recommend this one. They do grow quite large when they get going. You probably want to give it something to climb as it grows. That's definitely what I'll be doing with mine. But we are currently in autumn. We're about to go into winter here, so it's quite cold. And this one is still pumping out leaves, and yeah, it's just a dream to have. I would highly recommend this one. The variegation on it is really variable, so you get all different types of leaves coming through, different colours, and it's just a real fun plant. That one there's got kind of splashes on it, and sometimes you'll get more of a chunk of white like this one. But if you fancy a variegated plant that is more on the uncommon side, isn't going to cost you a fortune, and yeah, is maybe a little bit less space taking than the Monstera albo, then I think this one makes a really good choice. I am really looking forward to seeing mine get big, coming into 2025 as we go into the growing season. Next is a really cool little succulent that I picked up fairly recently. This is called the Chocolate Soldier, and I just think it's so cute. It's kind of quite fuzzy. If you stroke its leaves, it's got a fuzzy texture to it, and it's got that kind of really cute brown edging. But yeah, this is just really simple to look after, pretty much like any succulent really. You just let it dry out, give it lots of light, and that's about it. But the thing I love about this one is, yeah, it's just a little bit different because it's got these kind of fuzzy textured leaves, and they're not spiky too, which is great because I don't really like spiky plants. And I'll definitely propagate this one going into 2025, I think. Although I guess he is a bit small, maybe I should wait till next year. I always do get the propagating bug with plants, but yeah, I just thought that was a real unique little succulent, and it's a fun windowsill plant. I like to have kind of like a selection of fun windowsill plants in my kitchen that I can look at when I'm in there doing kind of mundane things. It makes it a lot brighter and more interesting. Really hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Take care.